Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Spiritual Center Denver. I am David Howard, and I'm the senior minister here. And it is my sincere pleasure to welcome you here this morning on this beautiful snow-covered Sunday morning here in Denver. I understand that not everyone is here in Denver, so hopefully you are having just as beautiful a Sunday morning wherever you are. And welcome to all of our Unity family and friends. And a special welcome to those of you who might be finding us for the very first time this morning. I want to share with you that Unity Spiritual Center Denver is a loving, welcoming, open, inclusive spiritual community. And we invite you to join us, whoever you are and wherever you are on your life journey or on your spiritual journey. We're so glad that you chose to be a part of our community and share part of your Sunday morning with us today. We have a creed that we say here every Sunday morning at Unity Spiritual Center Denver, and I don't think we have a slide this morning, but it is, our God is love, our race is human, our faith is oneness. And so I invite you to say that with me now. Our God is love, our race is human, our faith is oneness. And I want to share with you that I know some of you get our newsletter, and you might have seen in our newsletter this week that Bettman and Halpin would be our musical inspiration today, and that I would be beginning a series of talks. If you read my blog, you saw that I had planned to begin a series of talks. Well, we met on Thursday here in the sanctuary, and Bettman and Halpin came and they recorded some music, and I recorded a talk that we were going to premiere today on Facebook and on YouTube. And then after we did that, I just didn't feel that it was fitting for what's going on in our country today, and that there was something on my heart that I needed to say or wanted to be said through me. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that what I had said and what I talked about was not exactly coming from my heart. It was what I'd planned and what I did, and there was just something within me that just wouldn't let me let that go. So I want to thank Stephanie Bettman and Luke Halpin for their time and their energy on Thursday. I did share with them that we would not be using that today. And so I want to be talking about something a little bit different today, a little bit different perspective, maybe, on some things. And I was reminded this morning when I was in the more traditional Christian church that the ministers would often say, before they got up to give their message, they would also often say, pray, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, O God. And so I was praying that myself this morning. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable and loving and informative and encouraging. And so that is my intention today. So I want to share with you something. I know I've shared it with our congregation on a Sunday morning before, but it spoke to me and it inspired me to write something that I want to share with you today. And it is from Eric Butterworth's book, Discover the Power Within You. It's actually the prologue to his book. He's telling a Hindu legend. And he says, according to an old Hindu legend, there was a time when all men, and I would say all men and women, were gods, and all people were gods. But they so abused their divinity that Brahma, the chief god, decided to take it away from them and hide it where they would never again find it. Where to hide it became a big question. When the lesser gods were called in council to consider this question, they said, we will bury mankind's divinity deep in the earth. But Brahma said, no, that will not do, for man will dig deep down into the earth and find it. Then they said, well, we will sink the divinity into the deepest ocean. But again, Brahma replied, no, not there, For they will learn to dive into the deepest waters, will search out the ocean bed, and will find it. Then the lesser gods said, "We will take it to the top of the highest mountain, and there hide it." But Brahma said, "No, for man will eventually climb every high mountain on earth. They will sure someday to find it and take it up again for themselves." Then the lesser gods gave up and concluded, "We do not know where to hide it. For it seems there is no place on earth or in the sea that mankind will not eventually reach." Then Brahma said, "Here is what we will do with divinity. We will hide it deep down in themselves, for they will never think to look for it there." Ever since then, the legend concludes, people have been going up and down the earth, climbing, digging, diving, exploring, searching for something that is already within themselves. So a good reminder of the truth that is within ourselves, and that's something I want to share a little bit more about in my message with you this morning. And so I invite you now to join me as we sing Surely the Present. Some of you know this tune. Certainly if you are a part of our community, you know this tune. So I want to invite you to sing it with me as we lead into a time of prayer. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. So now I invite you to take a moment and take a breath. Allow yourself to relax into this place where you are, wherever you are. Breathe deeply into your body. Come into the awareness of your body. And allow your body to be comfortable. Allow your body to feel grounded into Mother Gaia. Feeling that energy rising up to meet you, filling you up with that nurturing energy of the Mother. And we take a deep breath and we allow our awareness to drop from our thinking mind down into deep, into that place where the legends spoke about, where the light, the true power, the true essence of us is always abiding. And that essence of us that is always calling us into remembrance of itself. And in this moment, we allow ourselves to surrender into that place of knowing that we are that divine expression. We are the light and the love and the power and the presence and the peace and all the good that we can possibly imagine God to be. That is our truth. And we know that truth for ourselves. We know it, we claim it, we affirm that. And as we know it for ourselves, we know it for each other. We know it for those who are a part of our spiritual community, our spiritual family, how easy it is for us to know that for each other. And we extend that knowing out to all of humanity. Yes, indeed, all of humanity is that light and that love and that peace and that joy. And in that awareness of our wholeness, of our unity, we know that we are truly one. One as the power, the presence of God, the divine light, the pure light, the unconditional love, living itself in us, through us, as us this moment. And we allow everything else, any idea of separation, to fall away as much as possible in this moment. For we know that it is in that claiming that all is well, all is now, all is given to each and every one of us, through us, as us. And we can relax in that knowing. And together, we bring to our minds, our hearts, any particular person, individual, any family or situation that might be calling for more love, more awareness, more upliftment. And so we bring all of that together into this consciousness of unity and love and oneness and peace and harmony and wholeness and all of those loving spiritual concepts that we associate with that life energy that we call God. And we uplift all of that into that energy, knowing that we are assisting through our conscious awareness, through our remembering. And we are assisting others in remembering that truth for themselves. And in that we are so grateful, so thankful for our knowing, for our willingness to claim it and accept it and receive it, and our willingness to be it. We are blessed, we are grateful. We allow it to be, and it becomes so through our allowing. And so it is. Amen. Bang that drum, rattle that saber, shoot first and ask questions later. It just ain't practical to love your neighbor. Ooh, it's a crazy world. Let's make a circle out of that line. Think about us and not just yours and mine. There's another way beyond the blue and gray, where we all can lay our weapons down. There's a brighter light between the wrong and right, and if we let it shine tonight, we'll live to love again another day. There's another way. Still that anger, unclench that fist. Feel the power of forgiveness. There's a new sun rising in the morning mist. Oh, it's a beautiful world. If flesh and blood were born out of the stars, I can't help believing somewhere in our hearts there's another way beyond the blue and gray, where we all can lay our weapons down. There's a brighter light between the wrong and the right, and if we let it shine tonight, we'll live to love again another day. Yes, I pray there's another way. Another way. There's another way. Another way. Another way.
that beautiful song. So, as I said earlier, in the nation's capital this week, and I know for many of you, if not all of you who are here, we all experienced some energy. What was that about? That was so it was surreal, and it brought up for us painful emotions, fear, dismay, disbelief. How could this be happening? Brought up for us anger in some ways, I'm sure. So how do we move through that? How do we work through that? What do we do with that? And I want to say that I do my best not to anthropomorphize God, that is, to assign God human traits or qualities, because I know that the God that we know, the God that we understand, is not human and does not have human qualities, so to speak. But as I read that myth, the Hindu myth about God hiding light, hiding the power within us, I was inspired to take that a little further, and it just came to me to write this little myth. And we know that mythology is not considered factual. We know that myths are not factual in that sense, but they do contain a lot of truth. Very often we learn through those stories about life. We learn Christianity has its own myth, the creation myth that's given to us in Genesis. We don't believe that was the actual way, the factual way that things happened, but it helps us to maybe understand how things might have happened. So I sort of, as I was processing through what I wanted to say today, this came to me, my own version of the creation myth. And as you know, I don't normally read, but I'm going to be reading this today because I want to be sure that I capture it all and share it with you. So just invite you to listen and maybe pick up some truth in this story. One day, God was feeling a little bored and lonely. So they decided to try an experiment. God said, "Let us create some mini-we's. We will create beings in our own likeness and image. They will be our children. They will be pure light, endowed with all of our qualities. They will have creativity, order, love, balance, harmony, wholeness, beauty. Indeed, they will be filled with all of our light. And they will have all the power to comprehend and make use of these qualities, to create for themselves an energy field where our light, through them, will reign supreme, and where they will live in harmony and eternal bliss." Then God stopped for a moment to ponder. And they said to themselves, "That sounds positively dull. That's not a very good experiment at all. How can we make this more interesting?" After a while, they said, "Yes, we know. We will put them in a trance. Of course, they will always be our light. They just won't remember. It will be as though they are asleep to our light." Then God thought, that doesn't seem quite fair, does it? And they said, "No, it does not. So what can we do?" And they pondered again. And after a time they said, "Now we know. We will also instill deep within them a desire, a longing to wake up, a longing to seek and find our light for themselves. When they find it, they will cherish it. And then they will use it to help their siblings find it as well. Then God thought, well, this is all well and good, but where are they going to do this? After a time, God said, we know. We will create for them a playground on which they can have fun awakening to who they are and discovering each other in this little game of hide and seek. We will call it Earth. Then God said, but they will find each other straight away. We want to gain some insight from this experiment. We want to know just how powerful our light truly is. How will we know if they can clearly see and recognize each other? What shall we do? Again, God pondered. After a time, God said, yes. We will place them in costumes so they are disguised from each other, and we will call them humans. We will create these costumes with different skin colors, facial features, body shapes and sizes, hair colors and textures, and genders. We will also give them different languages so they do not so quickly communicate. We will place them in different regions around the playground. They will have access to different resources. And we will hide our light a little closer to the surface for some. They will believe they have found our light, and they will create something called religions that others will follow to further confuse them. In this trance, they will believe that they are separate from each other and separate from us, and we will see just how long it takes them to wake up. We are confident that our light is so powerful within them and the desire so strong to awaken that they will wake up very quickly and they will all live in harmony and peace and love together on this playground. And this is how the human experiment began. Ever since, God has been checking and analyzing the data of this experiment every day. And every day, God scratches their head in disbelief. Why have all our children not awakened? They ask. How much violence will it take? How much death? How long must they fight each other? How much pain and suffering must they witness and endure before they wake up? When will they come to care for and share with each other? When will they realize that they are the same and that there is a better world that awaits? When will they learn to focus in their hearts where our light abides? It's not that difficult, is it? When will they learn that they are not their possessions, not their jobs, not their money, not their costumes, not their religion, not their nationality, not their gender, not their sexuality, not their political party? God asks themselves, what is to be done? We cannot intervene on their behalf. That would ruin the experiment. So they said, let us look a little more closely. And so God peered a little more closely into the minds and hearts of humans. And finally they said, yes, we see that some of our children are waking up. There is a glimmer of hope after all. They are the ones that we must rely upon. They are the ones who have the power on earth to connect to our light in their hearts and open to receive all the gifts that we gave them from the beginning of their creation. They will come together and look beyond their outer appearances, the skin color, the places of birth, as well as beyond those religions they have chosen to follow. They will remember that they are all wearing costumes. They will know that the things that made them appear different are all made up. They will know that they are disguises meant to make the game of hide and seek more fun and interesting. They will remember that our light is beneath those costumes. They will look beyond and know that they are all the same. They will remember that the desire to awaken to our light is within them. And they will pay attention. They will know in their human forms they all want the same things: peace of mind, love, security, safety, belonging, freedom, all the qualities that reflect the true radiance of our light. They will awaken they will awaken to what some of our children call Ubuntu, knowing that they desire for themselves. What they desire for themselves, they also desire for their siblings. They will receive the gift of empathy, their ability to listen and hear and understand with the heart, their shared original nature, and their shared experience of being humans. They will receive their gift of compassion, to be present with the suffering of others, whether physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. They will receive their gift of mercy, to care about the suffering of others and do all that is within their ability to help alleviate that suffering. And they will awaken to the greatest gift of all, the Holy Spirit, the love within them, the Comforter, the Spirit of our light and love, the one who, with the still small voice within, is forever reminding them of who they are. They will receive their gifts to comprehend and their capacity to use all of these gifts to bring forth upon this playground a new earth, a new reality that embodies all the qualities that we are, they are. This is what we know. We know our children. We know they are awakening. And we see that day is now. The end. So what I know about that story, I don't say that it's factual. But what I do know about that is that I do trust that we are all endowed. All people are endowed with that light. The light that we call God. It's known by many names, certainly. God, Allah, Brahma. That we are all endowed with that. And our ability, our potential, our possibility is to claim it and to awaken to it. And what we witnessed, let me pray this again. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto you, unto God, unto Source, unto light. Because this is not intended to be a political talk. It was challenging for us to watch. I know Jay and I said, it's something you see in a movie, not something you see on the news, especially not in the United States, right? I'm sure many of you thought the same thing. And then afterwards, feeling our feelings, and I heard and I saw a lot of finger pointing, name calling. I saw it on the news, of course, but even afterwards, those of us who I believe are awakening, because I believe I'm talking to those of us who are awakening, to that light and that truth and the power that we have within us. But even those of us who are awakening, we're caught up in the fear and the blame and the name-calling and the shaming and the guilting. And I find that so often that's what happens. But what I want to say to us today, and let me just say too, that I do it as well. It's a normal reaction, human reaction. But what I want to say and what I recognize and realize about that for myself, and I know for you as well, is that, as President-elect Biden was saying, this is not America, I would say that behavior, that name-calling and shaming and blaming, I think is not who we are as spiritually awakening beings. That name-calling and shaming and punishing and whatever else that we do is another form of violence. It's violence to ourselves. It's violence to the consciousness of humanity. It's violence to those that we are projecting all of that energy upon. We may not see that. We may not feel that. That's not true. We do feel it. It's energy, and we feel it. The reason that we want to project it out on somebody else is because we don't want to feel it, mostly. We don't want to feel the fear, the sadness. And so we want to push that energy out of us. And we want to push it out on somebody else, project it out on somebody else. And let me say that I fully believe that when we do that, we are pushing it out onto someone else. And what I believe about that is that nothing and no one has ever been transformed through guilt, through shame, through blame, through criticism. No heart has ever been changed and opened through violence. Through violent speech, violent talk, or violent actions. And while we witnessed that on our televisions in our nation's capital this week, we were horrified. Horrified. We felt it. We felt the energy of that in our own bodies, in our own minds, in our own spirits. We felt it. And then we wanted to just put it back out to them. Those who were protesting, those who were inciting. But I want to remind us, as I said, nothing changes when we keep circulating and recycling that violence. Now, I'm not saying you and I are going to go out and protest and storm the Capitol or any of that. We're not going to, most of us will not bear arms and go and try to do the things that some of those people were doing. I'm not suggesting that at all. But as Jesus said, those who live by the sword will die by the sword. The sword may be a literal sword. The sword may be a gun. But the sword may also be our words and our thoughts and our energy. And so what I would invite us to do with that, again, I know it's not easy, but change and transformation is never easy. What we are witnessing is what we have known. what we have created a culture of violence, a culture of reward and punishment. That's all we know. That's all we know. But in order to shift that, a paradigm shift, if you will, where does it start? It starts with you, and it starts with me. And so as the story that came to me talked about, our opportunity is to go within and find that light and claim those gifts, those abilities, the ability of empathy. Empathy is understanding, connecting with the feeling, connecting with our own feelings first. It's so important. What are we feeling? What does this bring up for me? What is alive in me when I witness that? For anger, fear, all of that. What is that about for me? Man, I really want to see our country working together. I want to see people peaceful. I want to see people contributing. I want to see us all working together for one common goal. And I see that and I think, why is that not happening? I feel that. I give myself empathy for that. I give myself compassion. I receive that gift of compassion. And I love myself in that. I love myself in that moment. I soothe myself. I ask for support. And I come back as much as possible to my true knowing. And the realization that I want to be one of those who is awakened and one of those who is bringing forth upon this playground called earth a new way of being. And I believe I'm speaking to those of you who want that, who want to be the catalysts for this paradigm shift upon the earth. And then we not only use our gifts of empathy and compassion for ourselves, we extend that to other people. Empathy and compassion are, I think it's the Dalai Lama that says empathy and compassion are the pillars of a peaceful society. I can't remember exactly what that quote is, but I will say that. Empathy and compassion are the pillars of a new earth. And our opportunity is to extend that empathy to other people. And the most challenging people are the ones that we disagree with so vehemently. I have a friend who says, when I make it hard to love me harder. When it's hard to love me harder. Challenge, isn't it, sometimes? To look and see, wow, what might they be experiencing? What fear might be going on for them? What might they be longing for? What might all of this energy that they are putting out there be a symptom of? Anger and frustration and all of that, our shared humanity. And can we give them compassion? Can we extend compassion to those that we witness exacting violence? Because again, I want to go back to, I am that. I am that. I have anger. I have frustration. I have pain. I may not express it in that way, but I experience it. How can I connect with that in someone else? And can I extend compassion to them in any way that I possibly can? Can I get into my heart? And instead of blame and shame and guilt and wrong and bad and punishment, can we extend compassion and love? Loving thoughts, loving energy. Because love extended in our thoughts, in our feelings, in our prayers, in our meditations, love is the energy that can transform. Love is the only energy that will open hearts and minds. Love is the only energy that is going to bring forth upon this playground to call Earth a new way of being. And our opportunity is to be that love. And to awaken to and to embrace our gift of mercy. To connect with that. To understand the suffering of other people. And to do whatever is within our power to help alleviate that suffering. Now I know that there's not a lot within your power and my power to alleviate the pain and suffering of the people that we saw storming the Capitol, except refraining from sending that energy of love, of blame and guilt and shame and punishment toward them, but to extend love. And now I know what's going through some of your minds. Well, what about, shouldn't they be punished? Shouldn't they be held accountable? Are you saying they shouldn't be? I'm not saying that at all. But the system that we have in place for punishing people for expressing violence in these ways, again, is a punitive system. And I would ask, is it possible that rather than a punitive justice system, can we embrace a new paradigm of a restorative justice system? One that recognizes the humanity and the spirituality of the person, that calls them into accountability, yes, for the pain that they stimulated, that asks them to come into the awareness of how their actions have affected other people, to do what they can to make amends for that, to make restitution for that, rather than, well, you did a bad thing, so you deserve to be punished, so we're going to put you in a prison for the rest of your life. And in some way, exact modern-day slavery. I know that's all we know. It's all we know right now. But it's not all that we can do. So can we, you and I, as the awakened beings, begin to embrace a new way of being? And as the myth said, when we claim our light, we cherish it so much that we want to share it with other people. We want to help them remember their light. Do we sometimes need to remove the element of harm so that it does not exact more harm? Yes, I get that. I get that. I'm not a Pollyanna. And can we do even that with honoring someone's humanity and their spirituality? I share this with you because as I meditated on it, as I prayed about it, this is what came to my heart. And I know that I want to be a part of creating a new way of being together as human beings, to love each other, care for each other, connect with each other, understand each other. And I know we have a long way to go. But we're never going to go anywhere until we take the first step. And I think the first step is coming back to our truth and extending love as much as we can to ourselves, yes, and radiating that energy of love, calming the energy of fear, feeling the pain, feeling all of that we feel. Don't deny that. Give yourself that empathy and compassion as much as it takes, and do our best to shift and to be in the energy of love. I'm sure there's a lot more that I could say about that. I'm sure there are some things that I will wish I had said when we end. I'm sure that it's a complex in the human realm, but it's very simple in the spiritual realm. Love is the answer. I think I've probably said enough. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being with me this morning. And let's take a moment and go into a time of silence, meditation. So take a deep breath. Probably need one after that. Take a cleansing breath. Just breathe in and breathe it out. Just let it all go as much as possible. As much as you can possibly release and let go right now, just let it flow out of you. Let it flow down into the Mother Earth, knowing that Earth, she transforms all of that energy, transmutes it, and then releases it back up. Such a beautiful energy field of Mother Earth. Let it go in this moment. Release. And breathe into your heart, that place where that light abides. The light of love, the light of peace, the light of joy, the light of wholeness, the light of unity, the light of beauty, the light of order, the light of harmony, all of those qualities of the divine life energy that is living in you and through you and as you this moment. Awaken to that Holy Spirit within you that is always speaking and guiding and directing you to your remembrance of who you are. Right here, right now. And breathe into that awareness, allowing it to reveal to you whatever needs to be revealed in this moment. As we take a short time in silence. Just breathe. Let the breath
remind you of that life that is always breathing you. Let the breath remind you of who you truly are. Breathe into your own body, into this moment and this time and space. Awakening into who you truly are. As love, as light. And for a moment, just extend that love. See that love as a radiant beam of energy, a field of energy, extending out from you, out into the world, touching hearts and minds, calling each one into the remembrance of who they truly are. As we breathe, we love. Love one another, love one another, as I have loved you, and care for each other, care for each other, as I have cared for you, and bear one another's burdens, and share each other's joys, and love one another. Love one another and bring each other home. Thank you. So now is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to support this ministry here at Unity Spiritual Center Denver. We really are blessed and grateful for all of you who continue to support us through your gifts and your tithes and your offerings. And I would say support us, but to support you, this space, your community, your spiritual home. We thank you for that. And if you're giving for the first time, we are so grateful for you as well, for your participation and the exchange of the energy through your giving. We are so grateful for that. So thank you. So now let us say our offertory blessing together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I am grateful. As time has unfolded me, it has revealed to me life's nothing less than sublime. With every thought I make, every last breath I take, may I be gracious and kind. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Kindness wash over me, make me a symphony, play every note you can find.
Make me reverberate, gently deactivate, slowly flow out of my mind. Find me a melody, dance and let my anthem be. Love, cover me, light any darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. 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 I will not be shaken. I will not be moved. Love, cover me. May my heart awaken, tenderness be proved. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Love, I invite you to open up this heart of mine. Love, cover me, light every darkness. Love, cover me, right every wrong. Cause me to see love over hatred. Guide me to be faithful and strong. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, cover me. Love, 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 love. Love, 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 love. Thank you to our friend Gary Floyd for that beautiful song. So now I'm at a loss. What are we doing now? We did the offertory. We did the... So I just want to say thank you again for being here. I want to invite you to join us for our fellowship time, which is at 11:30 on Zoom. If you go to our website, unitydenver.org, and you go to our calendar and click on that, there is a link in that on our website for the Zoom fellowship at 11:30. At 11 o'clock, right here, right where you are on Facebook and on YouTube, our Youth and Family Ministry Director, Natalie Simons, will be presenting a children's lesson. And I love the children's lessons. Actually, they are so informative, and they're not just for children, so adults can learn from them as well. So I invite you to tune into that as well. And so now I invite you to join me as we say our closing prayer, which is the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and so it is. Now, if you know it, I invite you to join me as we sing our closing song, which is so appropriate, Love Can Move the World. Love can move the world. sky moves the sea. Love can cause the wars to cease. Love can move this world to peace. It's a tide that begins with you and me. Love can move the world as the warmth of the sun moves the trees. Feel the winds of love increase as we move this world to peace. Come love the world with me.